just like, are you really particular in that space too when it comes down to getting into the mix?
Not anymore. I used to be kind of like purist about it, like just like no auto tune, not a lot of reverb. Just like the raw vocals. But like I kind of look at it the same way that I look at like airbrushing now, like with like photographers. It's like that is a skill that they went to school to learn. It's like that it's a different art form at that point, but it doesn't mean that it's like not real or like not integrity. I don't know,
Hmm.
that it doesn't have integrity. And honestly, like a lot of like the auto tuning stuff is like so cool. Like it's just like so neat the way that it can be used as an instrument.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think I've changed my mind with that over the years.
Alrighty, so yeah, this is Don Root, and we're back with another episode of Culture Convos. I don't remember exactly when I first met you, but I know the first time we connected through like the I Am Root brand specifically was for one of the Rooted Sessions events, and I feel like it had to be either John Cornelio, like Clementine,
Yeah.
Color 8, someone somehow like put you on our radar, and then we connected from there. So talk a little bit about like who you are, what you do, and like your come up in the Phoenix area.
Yeah, my name's Danielle Durack. I'm from the Phoenix area. I grew up here. I've been doing music for most of my life and writing songs since I was pretty little and actually pursuing it seriously since I was in like I'd say college was when I started really going for it. So that was like what 2015, 2016. And yeah, it's been a process kind of getting out in the Phoenix air in the Phoenix scene, I guess. Um, you mentioned Clementine; they were super instrumental in kind of getting me, I don't know, branching me out. That was cool, and same with the Color Eight, and all those guys were really really nice and very like welcoming, and I don't know, the scene felt really special at that time, like that 2016 17 like um, era. It felt like everything was kind of blossoming a little bit from what felt like nothing to me, anyways.
Yeah, no, same. I kind of felt the same way for us. Even what we were doing before we got to Rebel, we were doing some stuff at the Newton in like Central Phoenix slash Changing Hands of bookstores, and it was just like crazy times for us to even start looking at Rebel Lounge. It was like, all right, this space is getting too small for us. We need to move somewhere else and really have a full emergent experience someplace with like a sound system and
Yeah.
a audio guy and where the bands can hook up. And it caused us to really look at taking our stuff to the next level. So when you look at your journey and like what you've been on, like what was that point? And maybe 2016 was it, or slightly after, or wherever. But like, let me know kind of where you were when the light switched for you, and you're like, all right, this went from being something that I'm good at, or maybe I jam with the homies every now and then, but now it's like I want to put my stuff on Spotify. I want to get a manager, because like when we look at your, like I got a lot, but like when we look at your website, like the branding, how you put out like your flyers and stuff like that, it's pretty consistent, and like there's a feel and a vibe to it. So it seems like you've been on it for a while, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to know a little bit about like when did that light switch like kind of turn on for you?
Yeah, I think I always wanted to pursue music like since I was little. I used to be kind of like embarrassed about that or just like shy about telling people that that's what I wanted to do with my life. And then I think in high school there was kind of like a moment where somebody was just I told someone that I wanted to pursue music and they were like, "Well, what are you doing? Like what are you actually doing to pursue that? Like what are your actions that you're taking to like get there?" And I felt very like um borderline offended by that, but like it really put a fire under me and like at that point I started like figuring out, okay, what do I need to do? Like how do I play at the venues in town? Like okay, I need to have decent recordings of my music to prove to people that I play music, and like be able to send that in an email and like, request to be, I don't know, on shows or like open for other artists in town. I don't know. That was like definitely the time period. It was just like, okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna make an album, and it's like that's gonna be the thing that I'm, I made this thing, I do this, like, let me do it on your stage, or like for you, yeah.
Okay, and not to jump around, but so like, how old were you when you first started playing? Was it like, is guitar your primary instrument?
At this point, yeah, I play keys too. I started on keys and wrote a lot of stuff on keys, and then guitar just became so much more convenient gigging, and I think I've spent a lot more time with it now. Um, but I didn't actually start playing guitar until I was 18, maybe 19. Um, Started playing piano when I was probably 16, but I had been writing like lyrics and melodies since like the 5th grade.
Got
So
you.
10 years old, yeah.
Okay. Let's take note of that. Now that makes a lot of sense too. I was super curious. Like, do you have a favorite? As far as like when you're writing, are you like sit down at the keyboard, or do you feel like strumming a little bit to kind of get those ideas flowing?
Yeah, I think it goes in waves. Like I'll get bored of one and start going towards the other, like because it's more exciting at the moment, and it like flips back and forth if I'm in like a writer's like block or feel like I'm in a rut.
Okay. So
Yeah.
when we talked about the like when that light like flipped for you and you start to pick things up, were you like semi tech savvy at that time? How were you getting your demos across? Were you just like grinding, getting some cash, trying to find somewhere to record, or
No, the first cup I put out a demo in 2015 that was done by like a good friend of mine who did it for free. He was going to school for audio engineering, and like we did it just like in his bedroom, and like we recorded vocals in his closet. It was one
yeah?
of those situations. Um and then he did the next record as well, not as much as a favor, but at a steeply discounted rate. um and then I'd say Bashful, the record I put out in 2019, was when I started to actually like, you know, really, really hit, I don't know, see what it's like to, how much it costs to make
To
music,
get
I
into it,
guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cause like Bashful, is that before or after? Cause like the memory I have is like you in the plane somewhere, and I think you were rocking yellow, and like it's kind of the aesthetic
Yeah.
of the website. Like, was that kind of when that dropped?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah. So talk a little bit about that. Like, how did you connect with the creative director, or did you direct this thing creatively? And
Yeah. I mean, so Bashful was kind of, it was, I don't know. I was still like very new at everything at that point, and I guess I'm still very new at everything. But it was like all of the friends that I had through like high school and college. It was like the people in my life started to get really good at what they did, you know. Um, and I had met somebody who did my album art, and then it just kind of became like my style was pretty cohesive at that point, like just like what I chose to wear on any given day. It's just kind of like was who I was, and it was documented, and I'm I don't know. It's hard to like really define that, like who you are, and like
mhm.
really box that in like a thing, but I hope it comes across as what I um who I am.
Nice, nice, and that's it's interesting to hear you say that because like from afar, someone looking is like, yo, this looks very strategic. Like, oh, they sat in some group and everyone's like this and not that. It just comes across
Yeah,
really polished and really good. But to hear you say it's like, yo, it's kind of it's who I am, and things just fell apart. Like it's just not fell apart. I'm sorry,
all
came
together.
together. Yeah,
Yeah.
what I'm saying, in that way with the folks in your life and kind of how all these things fell into place, and you being trusting and open enough as a creative to kind of let them too. Sometimes I feel like
Absolutely.
emerging creatives like try to have too much control in those phases where it's like it has to look like this, it has to be like this, and kind of overshoot things instead of just as you kind of did, let it happen naturally for you.
Yeah. No, that the control thing's tough for me. Um, I do like certain things like the recording process and stuff. It's just like I have no problem saying I have no idea how this works, and you've spent over a decade figuring this stuff out. And like I'll write the songs, and like you help me with that, and I don't know. We've all got different strengths, right? And like I do have a vision of how I'd like things to be. and sometimes it's really scary to let other people like, take it into their hands. It's just, real important to me. So I
Yeah.
want it to be perfect, but nothing's perfect. So and
Right,
that's
right.
good.
No, absolutely. Give you those challenges. And speaking of, like, what's been one of your largest, like, either obstacles or challenges? You could say either performing, gigging, making music, like, any part of your journey. What's been one that kind of sat you down for a minute?
I I don't know. I mean, I think like the mental game of like validation feels so good. Um, and like really refocusing constantly on like why I do this.
Right.
And it's not to receive that praise. Um, and I don't know, it's just like I do this because I love it, and I've loved doing it since I was 10 years old. So I don't know. Sometimes it's easy to get caught up in like, I need to be doing this. I should be doing that. Everybody else is doing it this way. And like, there's like these like unwritten rules of like, you have to do X, Y, Z. And like, I don't know, really just like recentering into like, there's no rules. And I do this
Yeah.
because I like to do it, and I can do whatever I want. And that's, I don't know. So that whole mental game has been tough over the years.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's an ever growing space. It's different for everybody, and
Yeah.
kind of you just have to look into it and kind of see what you want out of all of this and make sure that you're working towards those things every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I talked a little bit earlier about your stream success. I forget when I was looking. It wasn't recently, but like I have a few artists here in the valley that I like. I mean, I keep up with so many people, given like just what our platform is. But then when I was looking up some stuff like a while back, I just saw like like your streams and stuff were doing pretty well from what I can see. And it's all relative, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I looked at it and I was like, oh damn, like this is great. Like what I'm saying? I'm wondering just more about like your personality and kind of like how you go about. So how many shows a year do you feel like you do?
Um, it's hard with COVID. I mean,
Oh
before
yeah.
before COVID, I think I played, I don't know, probably around like 50 shows in 2019, I think.
Yeah.
Um, I went on a couple short tours that year, so maybe more. I don't really know, but it's in that ballpark. Similar last year, or this like in the last 12 months, it's been around that.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah, I want to get to touring, but about the shows, like what's been one of your favorite spots to play at? First locally though, like anywhere in AZ, if you have any favorites, and then we'll go on to like outside of AZ.
okay. Yeah. I honestly love the Rebel Lounge. Wow. Um, I just feel like the people that work there like care so much about the scene, and it like shows in everything they do. Um,
Yeah.
like they actually like work to try and facilitate the scene itself and like our Phoenix community, but also to like help to like booster artists up to like a national level, which is like unbelievably helpful.
Yeah, it's like an extra part of it because they could just be a venue, they could just be a space that people come to
Yeah.
book and use it for that. But my experience with them has always been like great. What I'm saying, even for like me coming into Rebel, like it wasn't like a lot of our like specific type of shows there, but it didn't
Yeah.
matter. They were just open to like, let's do it. It's creative. We love it. We love poetry. We love the mix of all this kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
that kind of opened my eyes too, because I wasn't having those same experience. We weren't having those same experiences at other spaces, and
Right.
so like having that experience was like dope, and we got to meet other folks. I think that's exactly how I met Clementine, um, and I forget what it was. It was one of our shows, and he came through because like he had went to an open mic prior. They had an open mic there, and then he just popped up like the very next day to see what was going on the next day, and we were there. And then he
Yeah.
came by and we met then, and then he came by to my crib and like played me his album. He was like making it on Ableton and all that stuff, and
Oh,
like
cool.
before it dropped. So it was like super cool, because like again, it's just an artist out here in the scene looking to work, and that's
Yeah.
exactly who I was too. So it was like a perfect meeting ground for that. So outside of them being great people, it was just a great meeting grounds for like other artists and other creatives.
Yeah.
Before we hopped on, I talked about how I thought your hats were dope. I think you had some like dad caps going with the corduroy.
Yeah.
With the yeah, that was pretty dope, pretty creative. Like, are you connected locally with the embroidering the hats? Or are you working with
Yeah.
someone?
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine that I work with at the restaurant. His Instagram handle is, I think it's Disco Dan. Let me just double check that.
Yeah, for sure. Cause I'll make sure I pop the page up on the screen too.
Um, designed by Disco. Designed underscore by underscore Disco. Uh, yeah, he does custom embroidery and like is just like a good guy. So really like working with him.
Okay, nice. I might have to check it out. As you see, we do our plants, and if I'm not mistaken, I might have clicked the page, and I could have sworn like he's embroidered some plant like stuff before
Yes.
too. So
Yes.
we
Yeah.
gotta connect and collab. I'm always looking for local spots, of course, to like get some of our stuff and our ideas out. So no, thanks for
Absolutely.
sharing that. So anything else coming out like similar to like the merch kind of stuff that you can share?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be making more of those hats because I sold out of the like the Seinfeld kind of logo dad hat.
Yeah.
Um, so I gotta order more. I'll probably have some new colors. I am about to sell out of my vinyl of my most recent album, so I'll probably be dropping a new color soon, hopefully.
That's amazing. Like, tell me how good that feels just to say those words. Like, yo, I just sold out of my dad hats. I gotta order more. I'm about to sell out of my vinyl, thinking about getting another color.
Yeah, I mean it's really wild. Like just like that um it's weird because it's like obviously this is what I've been working towards for the last 6 years. So part of it feels like, yes, like it's like finally happening. But the other part is just like insane that it's like people are actually like spending real US dollars on like, my stuff. Like they value it. That's really cool. Again, like the validation stuff. It's just like, it's like, oh, it's great.
Yeah, yeah, nah, 100%. I mean, but you're delivering on your end though. I feel like live on stage, you're delivering in song when they plug you in on Spotify. They get it. They're getting it. And that's exactly why they come to you to purchase those things. So if you can talk a little bit about that process for you, where do you kind of pull some of your like inspiration for writing from? Is it like lived experiences? Fairy tale, like things that you aspire to have out of life, like yeah, just a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's almost always from just lived experience. That's like kind of why I started making music, was to process a lot of what was going on internally. I'm very like my head, it never stops, and it was like an outlet for all of that stuff, and it's like nothing really feels better than like writing a song and having it like that's exactly how I feel, and I said it, and I don't know, it's like almost like I can't just say it. Like saying it, I always get the words wrong or like doesn't quite get to the point or what I'm
Yeah,
trying to convey. Whereas like with music, it does feel like completely satisfying that I've like this is how I feel and this perfectly embodies that.
nah, I understand that. Now
Yeah.
let's talk about your in studio kind of ticks, if you will. Like, are you really particular in the studio, like, oh, I need that part over again? Or um what's your like studio vibe? Are you like a lot of people there, like to do it alone or a couple people?
I mean, it's always nice to have like a handful of people. I feel like it keeps the energy up and like, um, I don't know, just like fresh ideas and like even just like good energy to like have good friends in the room feels nice. Um, but I kind of really don't like recording. Like it's fun and it's so cool once it's done, but it's like so stressful for me. Like the thought that it's going to be that is going to be the thing that's going to exist forever, you know,
Yeah,
after we're done, that it's like this isn't just like a live performance. This is the thing that's going to always be there. So it's like the perfectionism really comes out, and
yeah,
um not usually with like other people, but like with vocal takes and stuff, it's just like I'm constantly like such a mind game. Like am I even like a good singer? I'm in the booth just like I shouldn't be here, you know? Like um but yeah, I don't necessarily enjoy it, to answer your question.
Nah, I feel you. I feel you. I love writing myself, and I love even just like playing it on my phone, and going through things. But it's just like that moment I get there to like lay that version down. It's like my voice isn't giving me the right thing that I
Yep.
want, or it's getting too high, too nasal. I'm feeling these type of ways that I feel, when I hear it. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm there with you, especially about the am I actually good at this? I really start just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. It really, yeah,
just like
really distills you down to just like, oh, there's no hiding. Like the live performance, it's like there's a little bit of grace with that it's like this is the only time it's going to happen, and you're working with what you've got, and everybody in the venue knows that, that you're
yeah,
there to give it your best that
right.
night.
And
Um,
nine times out of 10, you're about to go right to the next track. So it's like, all right, ooh, that one was rough. Thanks for sticking it out with me. We're
yeah,
gonna get this next one.
yeah, exactly, exactly. That's a little bit more forgiving.
Okay, how are you about like effects and stuff added to your vocals? Do you like very minimal, no tune, little tune? Just like, are you really particular in that space too when it comes down to getting into the mix?
Not anymore. I used to be kind of like purist about it, like just like no auto tune, not a lot of reverb. Just like the raw vocals. But like I kind of look at it the same way that I look at like airbrushing now, like with like photographers. It's like that is a skill that they went to school to learn. It's like that it's a different art form at that point, but it doesn't mean that it's like not real or like not integrity, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
that it doesn't have integrity. And honestly, like a lot of like the auto tuning stuff is like so cool. Like it's just like so neat the way that it can be used as an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think I've changed my mind with that over the years.
Nice. And early on, was it any like feedback you were getting from like just people like, nah, you got to stay away from that? Was it just like the negative connotation about effects and tuning in general?
Yeah, I think like I had a couple like role models early on that kind of would just like not necessarily like bag on it, like it was just like I just got the sense that it was like real musicians didn't use it was kind of the understanding when I was little, and that it's since evolved because that's just not true.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel that. Super
Yeah,
curious about what you have upcoming. Are you working on a new album?
I am. Yeah,
Nice,
back
nice.
in the studio.
Okay. Have you released the name or announced the name of what it's going to be?
No, I've got like a whole list. I have no idea what it's gonna
Working
be
through
called.
it.
Yeah,
Nice, nice. Okay, so you're just in the process like writing and coming up with ideas that are going to be for it.
yeah,
Okay.
yep. The songs are all written, um, and it's like probably a little around halfway done as far as like tracking goes.
Okay.
Um,
What are the vibes? Are we chilling out somewhere by a lake? Are we road tripping? Or a
there's
little bit of
definitely
a little bit of everything?
there's definitely some road tripping vibes, I'd say, on the album. There's like, there's really sad songs. There's a couple like up tempo pop beer songs.
Okay.
Uh, it's a lot. I don't know. It's something kind of new, but similar world as the last one.
Okay. And on that last one, do you have a universally recognized favorite from that one that people are just like, yo, yep, this is the one from that project that was the one.
Yeah. It's a song called Broken Wings. That was the one that people seem to really like.
Oh yeah, I definitely remember that one. Broken
Yeah.
Wings. And does that one go over well too, like live? Is that
Yeah.
is that why that you kind of recognize it as a favorite?
I mean, it even just like the streams, like
Streams too.
it's definitely been like the one that people have been listening to online. It is usually the one that people like come up to me afterwards and say like that song.
Hmm. Okay.
Um,
What so when you were working on that project, which one, so it's two parts really, like when you were working on that project, which song did you think people were gonna really like and gravitate to, and then the other part of the question is which one was just your favorite?
Um, that's such a good question. My favorite, I think, on the record that I put out in 2021 would be a song called Someday. And it's kind of like a slow burner. And it's a sad song. It's probably the saddest song on the album. But it just like, it felt really great to write it. And I was really happy with how it came out. Um, and I was expecting people to really like this song called Stick Around. This is like a poppier track.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of just got glazed over by like most everyone actually.
Stick around. It's interesting too, yeah. When you go into stuff, you're like, I wonder what people are gonna feel. Now, not to say that like your intention was to make it poppy because you wanted people to like it, but like, did that pop feel kind of lead you to think like, oh, it's more that up tempo feel is like kind of what people are into?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go into it trying to record it as a pop song.
Mm,
In fact, I kind of like um, me and the producer were kind of had different ideas about it, and
yeah,
his idea was the one that ended up being, the song, which I'm really happy with how it turned out. Like he's a genius, um, but yeah, it was more just like once all the songs came together, that one just sounded like the single, it sounded like that was the one that people were gonna really like dig into. But yeah, no, it wasn't. People really liked Broken Wings, which I was concerned was gonna be too different, and people
mm,
wouldn't get it or whatever.
yeah. Well, that's super interesting too. It's just like, yo, when you take those risks, you just gotta
Mhm.
go out there and believe in your ability, yeah,
Yeah.
believe in that pen, and just really tell those stories from a place of like, I guess, realness. Even if you think like people are gonna not receive it well or not truly understand it,
Yeah.
um, turns out to be one of the most popular ones. All right, we're gonna switch a little bit from music if that's cool. And now I know you're super busy. You work, doing the music thing, gigging, and playing at different locations. Um, oh, I'm jumping ahead. Touring before I get there, because I was going to just get into some like quick questions, real quick stuff that you watch, favorites, and all that kind of stuff. But I do want to talk a little about your experience with touring. So if you can, just share a little bit about your experience with it. What spaces, not spaces, what places have you gone to? And yeah, based on those tours, like, are you looking forward to doing it again? And with hopes of like, you leading the tour one day and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely want to get back out there. That's like my main goal, I think, in the next year with this next release is to like get on the road because I love it. And I also don't like it. It's like I wish I was home while I'm out there, but like it's weird. It's weird. It's like when I got home from my last tour, it was like I felt simultaneously like I want to be touring 24/7 for the next 5 years, and I also never want to leave my bed again.
All right.
my, yeah.
It's like the moment you wish two things could be true. Just,
Yeah.
I want both.
Yes. Yeah. At the same time. um, but yeah, no, I've been very fortunate with what I've been able to do without like a booking agent. I think I've covered a lot of geographical area. I've played some really cool shows. I've played some not as cool shows. Um, and yeah, I mean, I've been as far east as like Pittsburgh and um, toured with my friend Sydney, who's also an artist out here, Sydney Sprague. Um, and yeah, made like it's like the coolest experience because you just meet so many people that you like just fall in love with, and then you're in the next city the next night and you do it again. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like um it's a very and like just people are it restores your faith in humanity just how kind people are as you're like traveling and like the little homes that you're able to find away from home.
Right.
Um, yeah, it's really magical. I love it a lot.
Okay. And of the spots that you landed, because I know earlier we talked about your favorite local spot was Rebel. Was there any places outside of here that you just got mad love, or it was just great environment, or the sound was amazing, or something like that that really stuck out to you?
Yeah, I've got a couple. One is a place called El Rey or El Rey Court. It's in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's just like a cute little hotel that they do live music in their front room or like their lobby area, I guess, or their bar. Um, and people come out to listen to music. Like it's like you don't have to necessarily like draw a crowd. It's like people are there to discover that like new artists and like
Right.
see what's going on, you know? Um, and we were met with like, you know, just welcoming energy. It was great. And then I played at this other place on a previous tour in Makokata, Iowa, of all places. It's like this
Okay.
barn in the middle of nowhere that I think they use for like festival type shows. Um, but it was just the coolest venue, and everybody that worked there, very like again Rebel Lounge vibes, but like make it Midwest, where it's just like they care so much about the artists and they want to
Yeah.
take care of you and they want you to have a good experience, and it's not about the bottom line, and if you're selling X tickets or whatever, it's like they're excited that you're there, you know,
Yeah.
they want to help. Uh, so yeah, that place is sick. That place was called Codfish Hollow. That was
Okay.
in Makokata, Iowa.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
So
it
when
was
you
cool.
so when you're touring, are you playing as a solo, or do you roll with like a bass player, drummer, or what's usually your setup?
Usually, just based on finances, it's solo. It's a lot easier to travel alone and only have to figure out sleeping arrangements for myself and only have to feed myself, and
Right.
you know, I can drive my car as opposed to a gas guzzling vehicle.
No, absolutely.
But the last run I went on, I did a full band tour, and it was the first time I'd ever toured with a band, and I was like, this is better. Like I'm spending an absurd amount of money to like make this happen, but like this is I understand the appeal of like
Yeah.
having a band. I get it.
Right.
um, just
And what?
having people around it's wonderful.
Yeah. No, that's very true. I mean, it's very expensive, but I was just curious because I don't know. Maybe you had roadies, or or maybe it's just
No,
you.
oh my god,
Pulling out the
no.
guns. So
Pretty strong.
are you mostly playing acoustic electric or electric guitar?
Yeah, these days it's still just acoustic electric. I've been whipping out my electric here and there. Um, I hurt my back a couple of years ago. It doesn't sound like it's relevant, but like carrying an amp and
Yeah.
like all of the gear isn't ideal. So I don't do it as much as I would like to, but sometimes.
Okay. And I know I said we'll be getting off the music, so I got a couple questions related to it. Who are some of your favorite musicians out here in Phoenix?
In Phoenix. Oh, I
And
love. Sorry, what?
I was going to, if you need me to, I could put a cap on it so you don't feel bad about leaving anybody out, but feel free to rip though.
Yeah, no, I obviously Sydney Sprague's such a good friend of mine and like such an inspiration to me, and like I don't know, that's she's definitely a favorite. Um, Paulo Brea, I don't know, they're literally just like in terms of like just a pure ability and like how well each of them play their instruments, it's just like insane. Obviously, the Color Eight, just ridiculous. Um, who else? Yeah, Wheelwright, Jared from Jared in the Mills. New project is amazing. Um, his songwriting's really great. Raquel, oh gosh, what have I done? There we go. Okay, Raquel, uh, Dani,
Oh yeah,
her shit is just
it's insane.
Yeah, no, it hurts in like the best way. It's like such an experience to see her sing it. It's great. Um, who else? There's just so many.
Yeah, I
I
mean
feel like
that's definitely some heat right there. Good variety, and
yeah,
folks that are definitely out here, pushing to make their music like dreams and these ideas happen. Honestly, we all come from a creative place of like wanting to express and kind
yeah,
of translate this emotion to music. It's like where we come from and how we feel and these ideas that we have and kind of get them across in a way that either makes people want to dance or
yeah,
make you want to cry or just
right,
smile or go outside and get off the couch and do something.
yeah,
So no, yeah, definitely shout out to everybody that you mentioned. And I'll be sure to, if I'm not following them,
yeah.
and I'll have like some links and stuff at the bottom of the video, so everybody who's watching can definitely check those folks out as well. But on the topic of favorites and things that you like, are you a TV, a movie person? What do you do outside of the time that you are making music or working your job?
I try. I mean, I like to watch TV as like a social thing. Like I like to watch it with people or with my boyfriend or whatever. That's like
Hmm.
a night. But I don't seek it really. I don't really seek it out myself. I try not to, anyways. Like
Yeah.
I will get into like the really trashy television that I love so much of just like reality. I'm just like it's so good, but it's like such hot garbage and like melts my brain. I can't watch it.
Absolutely, absolutely. That way, you find yourself watching too much. You're like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna cut this off and do something productive.
Yeah, yeah. But when I'm not working or working on music stuff, I like to read. I like to run. I do yoga. Um, and honestly, I don't. That's and hang out with my friends and family when I have time to do that. That's pretty much my whole
Pretty much.
boring little life.
For sure. So, are you a pretty good chef?
A chef? No, not at all. Oh my god. Um, yeah, I live on like protein bars and coffee. That's what fuels me.
Yeah. So, what about favorites? Do you have favorites, just foods in general? Like, are you a
Yeah.
spaghetti person? Are you a taco person?
I love mac and cheese, and it
Mac and
does not
cheese.
matter. Like it can be the bougiest mac and cheese in the world with like the breadcrumbs and like different cheeses, or it could be like the boxed mac and cheese is also fine. I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Not bad at all. Um, are there any? Because we talked about venues. Were there any restaurants out here that you played at that had some really good food?
Restaurants that I played at.
Assuming you play restaurants, I don't know. I'm
I
just
do.
throwing
Here and
stuff
there.
out there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I play the Vig sometimes. They've got good
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Um, it's been a
especially on
while.
brunch days, the mimosa's pretty good too.
Yeah, yeah. They got good drink for sure. Um, they have good mac and cheese. Honestly, at the Vig, I like their mac and cheese a lot. I haven't been playing a ton of restaurants, so that's probably my answer.
Okay, nah, that's good enough. That suffices. So yeah, as we come up on the end of the interview, I want to definitely thank you for taking the time out to like chat with me. I know that we had one planned before, and we both kind of spaced it there. So now I'm super excited that we got this done because, as I was mentioning previously, like I've been ever since you were put on the radar and we worked with you in the past. I've just been like keeping up with what you've been posting online and like from afar, like I mentioned, like the branding and stuff, like it's really solid. It's really consistent, and then you click the music and the quality is there with the music. So you're definitely like on your way. Not that you need me to say that, but like, just like looking at it from afar, like putting in the work, you're grinding, the music sounds great, and you're
Thank
building great relationships out here in the community. So that's like a telltale sign of a person that's pretty much out of here, you know what I'm saying? So as long as you
you.
keep going, it's definitely glad that we got to cross paths and get this going. Can you, if you can't share your IG handles, your YouTube, any of those links that we can, make sure that we get people to follow you and keep up with what you got going on?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all under just Danielle Durack. You'll find me everywhere.
Oh, perfect. That's easy. And
Yeah.
I noticed in the community, some people call you Dani. Is that just is that a nickname open for all, or it's like, yo, once you get into the circle?
Yeah, I'm no, it's definitely not like there's not a hierarchy. Like I the truth is, I hate saying like I don't like the way that Danielle sounds coming out of my mouth. I just hate it. And Dani is just easier for me to say for some reason. Like
Okay,
even if you give me my coffee order, it's Dani. It's just how I introduce myself.
got it.
But yeah, feel
I
free to
should have
call me
went with the
whatever you want.
okay for sure. I was like hesitant in the beginning. I was like, damn, I don't know her like that, but I've definitely heard people call you Danny. So I was going, oh, welcome to the podcast. We got Danny Durack, you know. But then I was like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with the official full name until I get clearance. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, no, totally. But yeah, either one works. I'm not picky.
For sure. No, thank you very much. I'll be sure to pop up links and stuff. Is there any advice that you give as we close out here to any just emerging songwriters? You know, people looking to get into music that are like, uh, you know, just chasing it. You know, not quite sure if they feel that they got it in them. You know, just any words of advice or maybe even some advice someone gave you one time. You know, and it's like, yo, this has been sticking with me, and I just want to pass it down to someone else.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got a lot. I've got a lot of advice. Because, right now, the one that's like coming to my mind is just like rest. Like, don't be afraid to like rest when you need to rest. Because you're not going to be able to produce good art if you're like mentally tapped out, you know? Um, you gotta like let yourself relax sometimes. You can't just hustle and
Hustle and go.
so that's one. I think like the other one is just like make sure you're doing it for you and not, chasing any sort of like, I don't know. Fame and fortune all sounds nice, but it's like at the end of the day it's really hard and it should be the thing that you love the most. If you're going to be doing it every day, you know.
No, that's real. Those two are super powerful. Both are super powerful, and especially that last one is just like making sure that you're happy with what you're doing. Because if you get what all that you wish for, and it's not quite what you really wanted, some people kind of get into those positions, and we see like suicide, or we see just like severe unhappiness and the things that can lead to. So staying true to who you are and in resting for sure. Because like
Yeah.
one motivational speaker that I used to follow heavily, like back when I was 18, I first started this whole I am root thing. Didn't really know what I was doing, but I was just super ambitious coming from Los Angeles to Phoenix. And one of his things was like, you got to want success as bad as you want to breathe, and sleep. Well, I
Yeah.
don't sleep. All this stuff about sleep. It was like this negative vibe towards sleep, and I kind of adopted it. And I was like, no sleep, you just grind. But then I hit that point for sure where I was like, nah,
Right.
this is it's all in moderation. It's like, yeah, don't sleep, but like, no, sleep, but like,
Yeah. You
don't
should
sleep too
probably.
much, and just find some
Yeah.
balance. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's so easy to just get caught up in the, like, same. I feel like, but then I think once it becomes a problem is when you start to feel guilty for resting. It's like if you're
yeah,
like, I don't deserve a vacation or like a day off or whatever. It's just like, you do. Like, this
yeah.
is just life. Like, it's not that serious. Like, keep chasing your dreams with everything you've got, but like, take a day off a
For
week.
sure. Like,
Consider
yeah,
that.
so you're not gonna miss anything in that day or those 7 days, like you've been doing it for the last 10 years, and nothing's got if it didn't happen for you right after that, taking these 7 days to focus on you or family or all the things that you may neglect, while you're on that grind and on that path, those relationships that you don't necessarily like nourish, because sometimes when you're on that grind, you don't check in with little cousins or big cousins or
Yeah.
aunties or whomever, like, that you can stay looped in with.
Yeah. Totally.
All right, well, yeah, we'll wrap here. I want to thank you again for joining. And yeah,
Thanks
we'll
so
keep
much.
up what you got going on for sure.